Hello! Greetings and salutations! How's it going, guys? Happy Homebrew Wednesday! Oh, have a banana!
You're watching Homebrew, hosted by Big Secu at secu.com.
So hello! Got my piece of paper here. It's actually a Beer Smith recipe. Look at that a bit later. So back from the Great British Beer Festival. Really enjoyed myself there, it was brilliant fun. Met up with the boys, Jonah and Benny Boy and Scoosy67. There was somebody else as well. Darren Chetwell from Anworth Homebrew. Cool. Yeah. All bunch of good guys, especially Darren. In fact, Darren said something to me that I'll never forget. He said, I don't care if he comes down here, I've got my beer on the sideboard here, let him sort out if he comes down here. I'll keep telling you, I'm from Feltham, says Darren. I actually thought that if you were from London, that just made you a cockney. That's what I thought a cockney was, somebody from London. Partly not, because Darren's from Feltham, and that doesn't make him a cockney. So, I don't know. Who qualifies as a cockney? Do you qualify as a cockney? Let me know and say where you're from. Boom. So I had a really good time with those guys, drank a lot of nice beers, spent most of my time at the American bar. Yeah, had a Lagunitas IPA, had a Stone Smoked Porter, had a Hopsecutioner, although that wasn't as good as some of the rest of them. Had the Dogfish Head 90. What else did I have? I had one that was a Lagunitas one, I'm sure it was, or was it a Sierra Nevada one that was about 10%. Only had half a pint of that. They could only sell you half a pint of that. Yeah, that was nice as well. All good stuff, and of course, much hilarity ensued over the 20-inch sausage gags. Darren ate two 20-inch sausages. Essentially, he ate two baguettes and two 20-inch sausages himself. The entire lot. He didn't leave any of it. I mean, look at the size of me, I only ate one. Bloody hell. You Darren, you fat bastard! Now you might remember my low alcohol brew that I made for aiding in, you know, weight loss, etc. So the last time I posted a video, I was having some problems with it because it hasn't carved, or hadn't carved at that time. Now, I don't remember who said, I'll try and find out and I'll put his name across the bottom of the screen. Somebody said, reseed the bottles. And I did. And now they've come good. So I took all the bottles off, so I took all the bottle caps off. I think it was about, what, 50 bottles or something. And I put a tiny amount of yeast nutrient in, and a tiny amount of yeast in each bottle. And of course the sugar's already in there. Recapped, back on the shelf, and now they're all lovely and carved up. I'm going to try one right now. Oh, piece of shit. Get it up, yeah. Right, so here we go. That's my 2.3% pale ale, I suppose it is. Made with US-05, but I didn't actually put US-05 in for the reseeding. I just used some Mountains dried brewing yeast that I had. I wasn't going to open up a pack of 05 for that, but let us see what we have. Right, here's my Great British Beer Festival pint pot. Now I must say there's no head retention on this. There's no head. Try and, yeah, there's, Maybe a bit of yeast floating out of that. It's admittedly not looking very clear just now, and there's not much head on it at all. In fact, there's practically none. It's like a pint of lager. But it's a work in progress. It's only the second time that I've tried to make a low alcohol brew, and it is far more successful than the last one, certainly. So here we go. Smells decent, smells like beer. Not a massive amount of hops in it, but as you'll see in the recipe, I didn't put massive amounts of hops in it. It's pretty good. Now, it's got a bit of an aftertaste to it that I've had a few of these already, and I'm sitting there going, it's got this kind of citrusy aftertaste. It's not unpleasant, but I was wondering, is that something to do with stressed yeast or whatever? And then I looked at the recipe. And of course, I used experimental lemon zest hops, didn't I? So that's why there's a citrusy twang to it. Lemon zest hops. Fucking hell, she's gassy. Booyah. So anyway, yeah, that was Maris Otter, some Carapils, dextrin malt, and then altogether an ounce of lemon zest hops. 2 kilos of Maris Otter, 400 grams of Carapils in the mash, and then an ounce of hops in total. Does the job. Tastes like beer, because it is beer, it's just lower alcohol beer. But yeah, you can have a few of those and that's going to be significantly less calories. So, that's that. Now, while I was in London, there were 2 things that I wanted to do. There was plenty of things that Mrs. Siki wanted to do. But the 2 major things for me were obviously the Great British Beer Festival, which I definitely went and did. Boom. But the other one was I wanted to visit the Rib Man. Now, some of you might have heard of the Rib Man, maybe not. But the Rib Man is famous for the best ribs in London. And he does rib meat rolls, or rib meat wraps. And what he does is he gets up at stupid o'clock in the morning, goes and buys his ribs, and then he goes and he slow cooks them for hours. And by the time he's ready to sell them to you, all the bones have fallen out, and he's just picked the bones out and flung them away, and he's left with just the rib meat, which has had a dry rub on it. Oh, it's just unbelievable. So you get a big roll filled with rib meat, and then he offers you the sauce. Now the sauce, to begin with, I wasn't entirely sure that I was going to be that hot on the sauce, hot sauce, but I tried his entry level sauce, which is still pretty flaming hot. His entry level sauce is called Holy Fuck sauce, Holy Fuck hot sauce, and he makes it himself out of chilies and all the rest of it. I had some of that to begin with, and I was eating my rib meat roll. My God, it was so good I had to go back and get him to put more on, which he did, thank you very much. But I then wanted to buy a bottle, so he didn't actually have a bottle of that particular one, but what he did have was this collaboration that he made with I think it's a restaurant called Lahhndahn, and this one is basically his Holy Fuck hot sauce with an addition of yuzu, Japanese citrus fruit, and apparently the fruit takes 8 years to grow. And then the rib man chops it off the tree and goes and squeezes it into his rib sauce, and there you are. And it's bloody, I tell you what, this is good stuff. He gave me a good deal on this as well. Do you know, a lot of hot sauces achieve decent heat, brilliant heat, unbelievable heat, but not all of them achieve a really tasty flavour as well. You smell that, you can smell the flavour in there. Oh my god. So that is the Ribman. Oh, well, that's not the Ribman, that's his hot sauce, but here's a picture of me with the Ribman. I didn't do any filming, sorry, that was a private moment between me, Mrs. Secu and the Ribman. We ribbed it up. And also we got some chips from the guy next door. The Frying Dutchman. Brilliant. That's the best chips I've had in a very long time. Very tasty. But anyway, if you want to go and have a look at the Ribman's website, here it is. Why don't you tweet the Ribman and tell him you saw this video and you want to come down and find him in the Petticoat Lane Market. So next up, I bought a couple of things of lager yeast recently, just the other day in fact, and as you can see it's Ritchie's real lager yeast, sufficient for 22.5 litres. Mix the yeast with warm water, 20 to 27 Celsius, and add to fermentation bucket. Stir daily with a sterilised spoon. Now, so it tells you what temperature to rehydrate at, but it doesn't tell you what temperature to ferment at. And also, if I'm honest, the stir daily with a sterilised spoon thing sounds a little old-fashioned, perhaps a bit unlikely. I'm not really sure about that bit. But anyway, I emailed Ritchie's saying, what temperature do I ferment it at? Is it 10 degrees, 15 degrees, between, below? And I got an email back from John Ritchie, the production director at Ritchie's Products, who make this yeast and a variety of other homebrew stuff. And he said, thank you very much for letting us know. They're going to change the packaging on that in the next run. So there you go. I wasn't expecting to get Mr. Ritchie himself back on the email, but he's going to change that up. But 10 to 15 degrees, if you have a packet of this, John says, that's the temperature range to ferment at. And that brings me to the next question, which is, it's coming up for winter, so I was planning on making a lager, or a couple of lagers. But I didn't want to order 25 kilos of lager malt, because lager isn't my main beer that I like to drink. I'm an ale man. So I've got 25 kilos of pale ale malt arriving tomorrow with some other stuff. I've got some Munich and some Vienna and some caramel and some dextrin, Carapil size. Can I brew a lager with pale ale malt and this stuff? I've got some lager hops that I've asked for from Jeff at Yakima Valley. Got some Sats, Czech Sats. I've asked for some Tettnanger and some Hersbrucker, Hallertau, I think it is. I asked for 2 or 3 different lager hops as well as a number of other ones as well. Willamette. Willamette's one of my favourite hops for making, I don't know, for making IPA. I made an IPA not long ago. I used a lot of Willamette in that and that was bloody good. Yeah, definitely. So, if you have an opinion on making a lager with pale ale malt rather than lager malt, let me know, put it in the comments, and if you've used this before, tell me your experiences. Did you rehydrate it? Did you stir it with a sterilised spoon every day? I mean, it's a lager, for crying out loud. Is that 3 weeks in the winter I have to go into my shed and stir this stuff with a sterilised spoon? Let me know what you think, if you've used it before. Tell me! So my brew shed progress, I'm making some progress there. I won't show you just now, we'll wait until the finished article's available. But I've got most of the internal cabling done. I've wired up a couple of sockets, I've got the light switch in, I've got the light in, got to put the main distribution board in with the, what's it called, the RCD, the consumer unit I think it's called. And then I just need to run the cable from the house to the shed. And I'm actually starting to worry that I didn't order enough of the steel wire armour cable to go between the two. I got 15 metres, I hope that's enough. Yeah, it's going to bloody have to be, isn't it? Right, well that is me. That is me with a Homebrew Wednesday. See you next time. Cheers.